Hey legends, welcome to the Connect podcast,
A no BS approach to connecting people,
connecting businesses,
connecting communities.
and connecting successes. Connection is why we're here.
You might have 5 values and you go, well, I need someone that has at least 4 of these values really prevalent. Do they have the capacity to execute the role and the skills, the knowledge to do so successfully?
We've all been in situations, every business owner has been in a situation where their cash was absolute shit house.
and you thought next week wouldn't happen.
He's in the middle of the fit out. He's probably there now, bro.
I've gone silent.
I heard you started telling everyone, go here, I'm going to do a reel. I'm gonna do a
Oh yes, and that. So every time I go there, oh, here comes the content creator. Get ready, girls.
They all started doing the hair and makeup now because I know Josie.
I always say, have the right mentors, have the right people. You don't have to have them forever, but pick that right circle.
Where do you get the drive to continue doing this?
I think the drive, like I said, came from my family, like my parents and everything else. But those other days where we know it's just the purpose of, we've seen in the eyes of young people.
It was suggested to me by advertising magnate John Singleton, why don't you talk to Balmain? And I said, but we're not that close together. And they said, well, we can help to make it close together. They were adjoining. And against the odds, I negotiated that joint venture and put it together.
How should a person show up as a leader to build an empire?
Being transparent and leading with my heart. The marketing team who sort of says, no, Rami, you can't say that. You can imagine the things that don't make it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we should do something about the things that don't make it.
Let's
Connect. Guys, we said we were going to have a last episode, and that was with Dan Henderson. But we thought we'll have an extra last episode, which gives us a wrap-up of the Connect podcast throughout the year. And
The 2024 wrap up.
Yeah, we've had a great year. Yeah.
and a wrap up to us and our businesses and our lives and that sort of a thing. And it's always good to reflect back and look in hindsight to how things were in the moment and how things were in the past, and sort of reflect on each one of the episodes and what our world looked like in 2024 leading up to 2025. We started the podcast with the intention of wanting to add value to businesses and business owners in the Macarthur region, and we slowly realised we were getting a lot more traction outside of Macarthur. So now we're driven to build this thing and blow this thing up and add value to business owners all around. So that's pretty cool. I think our intention sort of grew from there, and just having that intention, setting that intention out there, we attracted some incredible people, some incredible guests on the podcast, and I thought, well, let's discuss it. Let's go through them. Let's go through our episodes.
Why did we hit the nail on the head with what we intended to do? I think Connect networking event was the start or the catalyst of why we started the podcast.
Yeah.
And initially the discussion was to keep it in-house and grow the area and build value. But man, it's scaled to bigger things.
And connecting people, connecting businesses, connecting communities, I think.
Well, the feedback that I've had in the WhatsApp group for the year is that I talk too much. So I don't want to talk.
You've cut us off again.
See, I know. He just kept looking at me.
Well, I was
He kept
leaning
looking at
towards
me.
it.
And then you looked weird because I didn't want to say anything, right? So now we know.
So now, was
Now
this
we
the
know.
only episode
Yeah.
you were going to stay
Yeah,
quiet?
this was. And then straight away, it
asking
looked
you
like
a
he's going to headbutt me like all the other guests that we've had on the podcast.
So if I ask you a question, you can speak. But if I'm speaking, it's not a chance for you to speak on top of me. That's the issue.
See what I'm dealing with?
And when the guest is speaking and when the guest is getting into it, it's not an opportunity.
This is why he wanted the head of the table.
done it
guys.
again.
Done it again. Ron will even cut off the guest. Like, we have to apologize to them after the show.
No.
We're going to pull them to the side and say, hey, listen,
people
sorry
can
about our
make their
friend.
own judgment on that, and if you think I do, then put it in the comments. Maybe I'll take a step back.
But look, it's been some fun times, clearly, right? Like, we've had some really great conversations. We've really brought some value to our listeners. And I want to just say, obviously, thank you with the wrap up. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing, to your friends and family. We really want to blow this up next year. 2025 is going to be huge. We've already got some great guests coming on.
Yeah,
so
really excited for that.
Without the viewers, without everyone that's been sharing, liking, even the people in our professional networks, they're the ones that are making this. We didn't have any intention from, I guess, a monetary point of view or where this was going to go. we just all wanted to be able to share some knowledge and get together and showcase some local, I guess, business owners. And it's starting to blow up, and we're getting some great guests on, and we didn't think that we were going to get there.
Well, we didn't start with great guests because the first two were Brad and Dan. Let's talk about Brad and Dan.
One he couldn't get the headphones on, and the other one didn't speak.
Look, we brought the Connect boys on first, just to pay tribute to where we were headed with building our empire, the Connect networking group.
Yep.
Because that's where it all started with them, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Feeding
So
that.
Brad and Dan, you guys have had a great year with the Connect networking group. The numbers are just growing. The business is flowing between that group. There's some really great relationships being built, and that is just going to get bigger and better as we keep pushing that. So great job to Brad and Dan for the drivers of that.
And a number of our guests that have been on are part of the Connect networking as well.
Yeah.
They're coming to our events, or their employees are coming to our events as well. They're sponsoring us, through their networks and their newsletters. And so it's been a great collaborative movement, not just what you see on social media, but off. As well.
And there hasn't been a Connect networking event that we've gone to. Look at the plug that we're giving them. We have to give them that. Whatever it is. It is what it is. There hasn't been a Connect networking event that we've been to where business hasn't been passed. And that's the best thing about it. It's like the relationships are being built. The relationships are being built with pretty cool people and some pretty cool businesses happening between it.
Agree. Then we also had Josh Cotter, the former deputy mayor.
Was he the first guest?
Josh was the official first guest.
First guest,
We're pretty excited about it. It's like, okay, now this thing is starting to become real. Bring on our first guest.
I think with Josh, the unique thing with him is that it felt like, he was one of our mates. It was easy to have a conversation with him. He was down to earth, although he was playing such a high profile role in the area.
Former deputy mayor, current councillor.
Young age as well. And to be honest, he has become a mate. After that episode, we didn't really have a relationship with him before that, but how many of the events, connected things that we've done, the toy drive, the charity work, it's all come off the back of that first episode.
Like the toy drive needs to be talked about. Like we just, over 600 presents, shout out to Serena.
Yeah, Serena in the back end.
She drove that ship and we all jumped on board. But, with Josh and Jess, they put us in touch with
Hands on Heart and
Lamandra Project, and we went and visited them and we got to hear their story. Yeah. We got to hear their why and their reason. And I think it was really powerful to know that, through Connect that we can.
And we also will say, we probably haven't talked about it, Pat going for councillor.
Yeah.
Just missed out. But mate,
and Josh approached me and I said, okay, whatever, I'll give it a crack. I think we can sort of push it in.
Probably a horrible time of the year for you to focus on and things as well, right?
Whatever, I'll give it a crack. But I could see how passionate Josh was about driving this cause. Yeah. So with anyone in business, you really want to sort of, not just in business, you get attracted to people that are passionate about doing things. Yeah.
Same crowd.
So I had a lot of respect for Josh and how hard he was pushing and how much of an impact he was leaving within the community. So I know Josh, he seems like a decent sort of guy. So I'm like, okay, you know what, man, I can connect with this. So by all means, why don't we support this? Why don't we drive this thing? And I was a couple of thousand votes away from being a councillor, but by all means, that was okay.
Pat the councillor.
I'm so okay with not being a councillor.
But then again, Josh, on that first episode, what did he say? 4 times it took him before he became deputy mayor?
Before deputy mayor.
Yeah. So it's not always going to happen. And if that's something that you want to go back to, you know that you were just there, right?
Yeah. But
big shout out to the Cotter family. I think they're doing some really great things and they're just a
good bunch of people.
Yeah, just a really warm and fuzzy couple.
Yeah.
I think
thanks for everything, Josh.
Shout out to the Cotters. Next we had Jim Marsden from Marsden Vlogger. Big Jimmy.
What a great character.
Yeah,
so
exciting one.
Doesn't like to be called a legend. Oh, what a legend.
He's got to be cranky. But Jim came on the show, obviously he's super busy. I watched his phone in that interview ring about 500 times.
Yeah, man.
Incredibly busy person.
And this is not like no-name people that are calling him. These are CEOs, head of the West Tigers, Benji Marshall. He took us to that private dinner. Benji Marshall, just with 25 of us. It was only a few weeks ago and, you hear Benji Marshall say some stuff that he'd never say in the media. But off the back of just the podcast, doing it together. We've connected with that family, with that group as well.
Shout out to Jim. You know, Jim was really cool to have on the show. You know, come from that, really old school, direct approach and scale
Face to face.
and
Hardworking.
hardworking.
Well, he was, what did he say? He was one of the first houses went on the street of Main Street of Campbelltown when it was only one light and a bakery down the end of the main road.
Yeah.
And then also was this one that spearheaded West Tigers coming together.
The merger.
How long ago was that?
Yeah,
Was
years.
Years ago.
Yeah.
You know, not
He
a
was
lot of people
involved in
know.
that. Unpaid as well.
Yeah.
Unpaid. Next guest we had on was Chanel Dargan, Nelly Dargan. Nelly just actually fought for a world title. She got the opportunity to go overseas, and she put on an absolute brawler of a fight like she always does. Nelly's never been in a non-exciting fight, but unfortunately didn't get the win. But really tough to do overseas.
That was one of my favorite episodes, but unfortunately, just like, we all have issues, that was the episode where the camera didn't work.
I wasn't going to mention that.
No, we have to mention where it goes wrong.
Yeah.
We had such a good episode, but if you notice on our reels, Chanel's never in the actual reels because we missed her main video.
Well, the main camera actually cut out, which was very, very annoying, especially after having an incredible episode and everyone's just on a buzz and the energy's high.
Yeah.
And then my heart dropped when I realized that this camera stopped.
Do you remember him?
Yeah. Just going through
I think I called him hours later. I was like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Because it's devastating. Like, you don't set these things up. We're taking Nelly's time away too to come out and visit, and the story was so powerful.
Ben, if you were to summarize that episode, I would choose the word resilience.
Man, incredible, incredible.
100%.
Like what she had been through to get to where she was in a short time too. Like, she's done some really great things for female boxers, and she's going to continue to do that.
But in such a short span of time, and off the back of her story coming from that domestic violence, to be able to go, you know what, I'm not going to run away from it. Not only to be an advocate, but to turn that into something to make her more powerful and anger that, or put that anger to, which is something that you teach, right?
Yeah,
putting that anger towards a direction.
Mental toughness, man.
Yeah.
Complete mental toughness. So shout out to Nelly.
Yeah.
And next we went from Nelly's to the Blackman family, Geraldine.
Such a switch.
Blackman,
Shift. Yeah, bit of a shift. We're thinking these people have a stupid amount of following. This is going to be insane.
Shout out to our Filipino followers, because we got a lot of followers off the back of that.
And they were just so much fun.
Yeah,
they were just so much fun. Like what you see online is what you get in person, and it was just a good, fun conversation. We're having heaps of laughs, and
yeah, man.
Yeah,
it's a good belly laugh. I always say it's good for your health to laugh like that, like deep in the belly where you.
And I don't know if you've seen them, but they've exploded. They've got some TV deals in the Philippines now. They were on the Family Feud, Celebrity Family Feud in Philippines.
Yeah, nice.
They've now signed a couple of deals with some of the TV networks over there.
Well done to them.
So I think that's off the back of Connect. Can we say that was off the back of Connect?
If it wasn't for Connect, I don't think the chances would have been pretty.
So you're welcome, Geraldine, Blackman family.
Well done to them. Incredible amount of
really cool
local, MacArthur.
Local couple, MacArthur couple.
Good on.
And what about the other part of that episode?
What was the other part?
There's some controversy that came out of that. Monica.
Monica. Yeah, I wonder if Monica's still around for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I still don't know who she is, but quite a lot of traction.
Yeah. No, I don't think.
But we're not here to hate.
Yeah. No, look, I think you're always going to get haters, right? If you're doing things and you're making a move and there's always going to be that level of hate.
But
like I said, we don't want that hate, but we do want that clout.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And it's ingrained in my head. I hear it in Rod's voice. Yeah. That episode was all about
that was
social media and what that transition looked like. Who was next? Adriana from Coots.
Yeah.
I really like Adriana.
Yeah, she's so cool.
Yeah, she has been a big supporter of Connect.
Absolutely.
With Coots.
Yep.
She's so down to earth. She's one of the busiest people that I know.
Absolutely.
But she's at every event. She supports so many different things.
Yeah. And if it's not her, it's again another one it's her team.
Yeah.
I've dealt with Keisha and her team for 7 years.
Yeah.
She handles all my clients' estate planning needs. And even with Adriana, they're always inviting me to all their events as well. And they're loyal to our events.
Yeah, they've been coming to Connect, big supporters of Connect. So shout out to Coots. Adriana, you're a legend. I told you that the other day after a few drinks at the Chrissy party. But you're a legend, and keep doing what you're doing.
And that Mark Boris story was pretty funny.
Yeah,
and it was good.
That was
it was
great.
good.
Yeah.
It drove a good message. But there was heaps of value in that.
Yeah.
Actually, the one thing I did take away from how she spoke about mentors, and I know we've spoken about that a bit, having business coaches or mentors, like she actually attested all of her success to having the right mentors. So,
and also, like, I think the way she went in her career of, hiding the pregnancy and things like that, I think the world has changed since then, but that message of resilience in terms of, pushing and
not giving up.
Perfect example.
Perfect.
Her stories, perfect example.
Yep.
Next, we had Big Scotty Taylor.
Mate.
What a champion.
Just sit straight.
Yeah.
Sit straight. Don't move.
How funny.
Don't let Scott analyze you.
How funny was it when he pulled out a list of things that he prepared earlier?
Mate, have you changed since then?
Nah,
have you changed what you do?
No, not at all.
Because he says that I hold my pen in my left.
I've
noticed that.
But when you're doing it, do you think Scott? Do you think of Scott and go, "I'm gonna stop doing that"?
Yes, I do actually. You know when he said I cover my groin and that's now whenever I have
photos,
all out. Whenever I have photos, I just hold my hands up.
He takes his pants off.
Just in case Scott's flicking through my photos. Hey Scott, I'm not covering my groin anymore.
You should just tag him in all the photos where your hands are up.
But man, what an incredible amount of knowledge. What a wealth of knowledge. What an incredible human being. And the guy is just like a gift that keeps on giving. He just loves pouring knowledge and value wherever he goes.
What I have done since chatting with Scott, and we bringing people on that we want to get value from too, right? Like a lot of the questions we're asking is for our listeners, but also for ourselves, right? But with Scott, how effective it is if you analyze body language. If you really stop and see a person's approach when they're speaking to you, you can actually get like small signs of things, even if you're not so gifted like him. He can see a lot more than we can. But I've noticed a few things talking to having some tough conversations lately with different people. There were certain signs of like,
we could all relate it to our jobs because, like, even for me, right, I'm selling a financial plan. I've got to justify my fee, and that's like it can range from anywhere from 3,300 to 8,800, and these are just for pieces of paper. So when I'm trying to show value, I've got to take those hints and signs about looking away or biting of the lip or looking at the wife or the partner. All those little signs is going to tell me, okay, well, maybe they weren't so sure about this part, so maybe I need to re-emphasize my message there.
You know what's been awesome with the podcast is how many times Ron has spun it to be about finance when it's
Mate,
not about
it's about our businesses. It's about our business. Oh, sorry, I screamed.
Every single episode.
I screamed.
Yeah.
I knew it.
It's not about finance, yet he turns it into finance. Like,
Nothing to do with finance.
I just said related to our businesses. No, I'm not going to high-five that.
In the financial industry, it's...
Yeah. He just spins it to finance. Typical
Because I'm in
finance.
the financial industry, we do it this way.
I knew he was going to say something because he looked like he wanted to headbutt me again.
Next guest was my grandmaster, my teacher, my instructor, Glenn Coxon. What do you guys... Obviously, I've known him for a very long time. What do you guys think of Glenn?
He was impressive. He was impressive, and it was like the grandfather you wanted. It's like the one that tells you the stories and the one that sort of influences you and sort of gets you G'd up about grabbing life by the balls. And his stories is fire.
Well, I didn't expect to hear that Steven Seagal shit his pants.
Awesome stories.
Yeah.
You're right. It's a good way to put it. Like it's a bit of that sort of grandfather vibes. He's always very forthcoming. Whenever I speak to him, whether it's a short conversation or a really long one. Sometimes we talk for hours. He's always very giving and forthcoming. Wants to see me grow. Wants to help me grow. He's always has good advice. And I think that's kind of cool. When you've been around the traps at that age, seen a lot. Then to give back, you don't have to do that. So I'm always grateful for the conversations. But Glenn has always got a good story to tell.
3 world records.
Yeah, like
3 world records.
And these stories, it's one of inspiration.
100%.
The next we had Paulie from the
Creative.
cave.
Creative culture. Your next door neighbor.
Yeah, he's my neighbor now at Shadow.
Yeah. So what? 26-year-old. Started his business in COVID. Grown his team to about 10 members now. But sacrificed. I guess a couple of investments to start his business now, about just killing it in that, marketing.
Got some pretty cool clients on, and then I think it was right before his launch.
Yeah.
Came on
We
and-
went to his launch, the white party.
Yeah,
that was
pretty
big.
cool. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, the dragons and the space looks good.
I think with Paulie, we wanted to bring Paul on because, he's just a young go-getter and he's trying to have a crack, and I think it can't be all about people who've made it. It needs to be about people,
who are making it, who are going through that.
coming up.
But also, fast tracking that, but also just showing what he did and what he sacrificed in order to get there. Because I think in this new world, or the younger generation don't know what you have to kind of sacrifice to get there.
Yeah.
You have to, if you're going to take a risk, it's not easy. Right?
I think Paul proved that, it's not about instant gratification. You actually got to chip away. You got to grind and grind and grind. And he's pivoted and taken a bit of risk. Like the cave next door looks really cool.
Yeah.
What they've set up there is something that a few people have tried.
And his vision is pretty cool.
Yeah,
the message that resonated with me was when he said, "I hire hybrids." People that can do everything. So if someone goes off, he's got someone else in the team. Because I think that about me, and there's some tasks where if one person did go, that job isn't getting done that day.
And I talk to a lot of media guys and marketing guys, and all of them are, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And it's heaps of gonna. I think with Paulie, they're doing it. Yeah. They're doing it. They're setting up spaces like that. They're taking a risk, instead of just talking about it. So shout out to Paulie. Next was a really, really cool guest. Probably the pinnacle of the year for us in terms of guests. Rami from Rashes.
Yeah. He was great.
He was cool.
I think Rami, at first we weren't sure, right? Rami's character on social media is loud and bold.
I think that's more you.
Right.
I felt like
you cut him off again. By the way.
You cut him off. That's no. What I meant was
sorry, master.
Yeah.
See,
his character online is very loud and bold and
a bit controversial.
Controversial. That's what controversial. So coming onto the show, it's like, where is this going to go, and what value is this guy going to bring? Man, he's fast, surpassed everything that
Incredible.
I thought. He was down to earth. He was easy to talk to. He's actually just one of us.
And he's just an open book. He didn't shy away from any of the controversies or discussions that we had. The microwave one, I know I probably said it a few more times than I should have.
Ron made sure to corner him a few times for some reason.
No, but he handled it well.
No, he handled it well. He's been, promoting us as well on his social media, getting us a new audience. And he was he wore the apron the whole interview, right? He backed up what he said, and you could just tell from the way he talked.
Yeah, he wears his heart on his sleeve. That's what I got.
If there was one thing you learned from Rami, what do you reckon it was?
Man, just hard work, perseverance, and just push. To me, I saw this. Push through your demons. Just push through your demons, because a person that built an empire at scale like that, whether it's the team involved or the franchisees involved or just whatever he's been able to create, I can only imagine how many demons would come through, whether they're just him in his head or other people getting to his head or other people creating issues, whatever it is. A person that has that's been able to build something like that has to have a crazy amount of determination and drive.
Well, when you asked him that question, I remember clearly he said a lot of self-talk.
Yeah.
A lot of self-talk. That sort of sat with me for a bit after the show. I thought, wow, at that level, what he's going through, what pushes him through is self-talk. I'm going to do this. Imagine standing in front of the mirror there is no way for me but forward. That's it. That's powerful, man. Yeah. And I think a lot of self-belief, right? You have to back yourself. I think the problem with most people these days is they actually don't have that self-confidence to take it on risk. So it's I'm going to shy away.
But also that they need someone to tell them, joining a program and getting pushed into this position that that it's going to be taught to them. And they're going to waste all this money going down this.
Well, it's that's why Tony Robbins and these type of guys are very successful, because they pump everybody up in the room. The guy's jumping up and down. Everybody's jumping up and down. But it's trying to, because they want to hear it from somebody else in order for them to do it. But we have what it takes.
Yeah. But on the flip side, there's people that haven't proven themselves yet that are just taking advantage, which we talked about with our last guest, Dan.
Yeah. So last guest for the year, Dan Henderson, Coach Dan Henderson. Man.
Great chat.
Yeah.
Still buzzing from it.
I know he was a fitness, focus on the fitness, but everything he said resonates with any type of business.
Yeah. Procedures and structure, man. That's the key, right?
Leadership.
He had some clear, definitive steps to take, which I don't think we've kind of had to that extent.
No, not somebody. Yeah, you're right.
To that extent of going, you know what, I'm going to write this down and you can go back and then fill it out as a template.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we've got to that level. I was writing it down because I'm going to go back and do it over the next 2 weeks.
You talked about goals and how you track them, how you set them. You talked about 2025 and setting them up. So, probably a really fitting last guest for us.
Yeah, man, a perfect way to end the year.
Yeah,
it was
perfect way.
Whatever was coming out of his mouth was just flowing.
Yeah.
It was just flowing out of his mouth.
And he's done the work, man. Like, he's worked with some high-level people too. So he's credible.
What's the other guy's name?
Who's that?
The one that you were fighting over who not to say?
Taki Ball.
No, the other one.
He's done work with him too.
Yeah.
The last name you couldn't say.
Which one?
Bedros.
Oh, Bedros Cooley.
Yeah, he had him on his, and he has his own podcast too. So he was a great communicator, great speaker, and I'm a testament to that. I work with him. He's my business coach. So, but boys,
well done.
2024 wrap up. This is it. I don't know if we ever expected to get to this point, but I want to say congratulations to you both. We've driven through lots of obstacles through this podcast. We've made lots of mistakes. And I think that's just how you grow, right? Like life's about obstacles, life's about hurdles, and it's how high you jump to keep moving forward.
Would you think from episode 1 that we would have gone this far and this sort of caliber of guests?
I don't think the caliber of guests to where it's getting to. Yeah. I didn't see that.
We got some crazy ones next year.
I would never expect.
So excited for
Rami to come on the episode. Like, okay, we all had our guests, and Pat was relying on this one guest, and he didn't come on. And then we gave him a bit of shit.
We've given Pat a little bit of shit because we are keeping a tally.
We're keeping a tally?
Actually, no, Ron's keeping a tally.
I'm not keeping a tally. You're keeping the tally.
I'm not in front of the computer and on my phone 24/7. I'm on the tools, fellas. I'm with people.
Mr. Busy.
Yeah.
But look.
But he's got 74 cousins that he could have called.
We are keeping a tally of who gets who guests. At the moment, probably me and Ron are neck and neck, I'd say. But I've got a few coming next year that I reckon will pass him. But I think...
And I think you're saying no to some of my guests just to stay on top.
That's Pat. Just back to business.
Back to business. Talking about structure.
But Pat's one was pretty good, sort of killed all
of that. And made up for everything. Great guest.
Yeah.
They're
all good guests.
No, they're all good.
They're all
but
good guests.
To get to like someone that has his own, has his own podcast, has his own 30 locations, like you wouldn't 40 locations.
Yeah.
We didn't think that he'd
high caliber.
Yeah.
It was
but
great.
we've also changed the direction, right? As we do in our businesses, you start something. As you see the different direction that it's going, we've also changed that, right?
Yeah, like for me in finance, I was going to say that.
Yeah. Okay, stop lying. I can see your nose growing.
Those were his next few words.
No, I didn't say that.
All right. Well, what did
you brought your business coach on, right? What's bigger than that?
What's 2024? What did it look like for you, Ron?
Look, 2024, the start of 24 is very, very different to where the start of 2025 is going to be because, can I talk about my business, Ben?
Do whatever you
Is
like.
that okay? Or should I just talk about...
Listen, you get into it, and I'm going to try and cut you off a couple of times. Okay, and we'll see how this is going to go.
We'll see, yeah. Let's get back to basics. No, look, so I mentioned it a couple of times, but, at the end of the financial year, 4 days before end of financial year, my business partner at the time, we're still going through a split, but he decided he wants a different direction. And I think it comes down to, what was that? GW.
Yeah, that was good, man.
The GW.
G being, do you get it?
Yep.
Yes. W being, do you want it?
Yep.
And C being the capacity to get it.
Yes. So 2 years ago when me and my business partner got together, they were all aligned. You know, we had this vision for the business. We wanted to be able to create a team, get advisors on board, and slowly step away from the business, but still be the face and still focus on the growth of the business, but be able to grow our team and potentially several locations. We were growing the team. Business was going better than expected. Like we were just getting clients. We couldn't keep up with the referrals, with the leads and everything. But I think it got a little bit too much for him. And, you know, he had some personal things that he was going through, which I don't want to get into. But at the same time, now it's left me in a position to go, okay, well, we had all these plans and they were all going great for 2 years. But now I'm back to being a sole director. I've still kept as much of the team as I can. We've still kept the same process and everything. And between July and September, it was just like damage control, right? Just making sure that you're still on top of everything. But to be honest, now since then, it's actually been better. Yeah. Like there's more money, there's more cash flow. I can decide now by myself instead of checking, because there was a lot of decisions that we both made that sometimes didn't go down the right way. We were paying for 2 sets of systems, you know, like running a financial planning business is very...
Here we go again.
No, it's very expensive. Yeah. Like the licensee fees, everything's so now instead of having another salary and another set of I guess logins and all these other insurances and everything, I'm seeing money in my account going, am I missing payments? Like because there's not this much money left over at the end of every month because it's going to expenses, salaries, it's going to insurances, your BAS, everything. And then I'm like, there's something, like I must be missing something. But it's like, no, your expenses have cut right down. Now I'm in an opportunity where the next advisor I can bring on, I might have to do that interview process, the steps and everything, and get that GMW and check in on that, right? Or GMS.
You got to get the letters right.
Yeah, got to get the letters right first before. But maybe checking in a little bit more about, because we're still mates, right? But he said to me the other day, like, you know, is everything okay between us? I go, it's like a divorce, right? We're still going through it. We haven't fully split the business, but I've actually got more work because I've got to, you know, check all the repayments, check everything. Like there's more on my workload at the moment. Things are going to get better, but right now I just want to jab you in the throat. Like it's until we're fully,
respectfully,
until we fully separate, and then, you know, things are better. My workload's a little bit easier. Then things are better because my workload was getting easier, and now it's gone back up to. And you would know this as well.
I guess, yeah. Well, I guess that's the struggles that small businesses go through.
Yeah.
It's a resilience that gets built in a business owner that runs a small business, because at any time anything can change. And you said something before in the episode with Dan. There has to be a level of adaptability. And that's what you're going through, and that's what I've gone through, and that's what Ben has gone through in the past as well. There's a shift, there's a shitty period, there's a shitty phase that you have to go through, and then it becomes better.
Yeah.
And that's...
How's Oztech finished the year?
Oztech's finished the year a bit different to how we started, but it's exciting stepping into 2025, because sometimes when things clean themselves up, it's like, okay, well now let's reshift, because I can't remember when it was like this, and it's exciting to be approaching a fresh start with a different mindset. And the year started, I used to set goals for years and all that sort of stuff. I didn't set goals for this year, but the year started off a bit dry with work. There was 2 months this year that was scraping for work, and the rest of the months were pretty consistent. And we're usually pretty consistent. We have pretty good clients, but we just went through a team filtration, and it's like, okay, every single time we filter out team members, or team members filter themselves out, it's like, okay, you now are more connected to what sort of person the company needs, because the red flags have been there. And maybe I've been too focused on just driving this thing for a long time and just wanting to sort of support it with as least resistance as possible, because my focus was just building and growing the business, whatever it is, that I just stuck my head in the sand for a while. And now it's like, okay, well, now we know what we need to build and grow the team to a point where a team is scalable and it's going to support business growth.
Yeah.
But you learn a lot always. like in business, you become a forever student because you're constantly learning. As much as you think you know, and as much as you think you've learned, and as much as you think you've experienced, there's constantly just a sideball that's going to grab you and just take you on an opportunity of learning something better, or learning something more.
This is the first year, I guess. Does Serena watch the episodes?
Serena, you better be watching this episode.
No, but this is the year that she's joined up full time, right?
So I'll go into this as well. So we're stepping into our 11th year. So this year we cracked 10 years, which was really, really cool. We're going into our 11th year next month, and for the last 5 or 6 years, I've had the thought of bringing my missus into the business because she has incredible potential, man. Like, she's worked in employment positions in the past. And if I, as a business owner, have been exposed to different levels of experience out there in development, whether it's business or personal, why wouldn't I want my wife or life partner to experience that as well? I've been on the fence of doing that for ages because I didn't know what it would do to the relationship. But I guess if we're both focused on one thing and that's growing and building together, then everything else will work itself out. So I've spoken to a lot of people about it, whether they're in business with their partners and that have created stupidly successful businesses, and others that are in business with their partners and then split up and it's compromise a relationship. And it's a very distinct half that are so for it and so against it. And then I thought to myself, I guess it just comes down to the individuals.
Yeah.
And we brought Serena into the business a few months. I think it's been 5 months now, and it's been great. And I'm excited to see what 2025 is going to bring for us as well.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Now, Benny boy.
Yeah.
That's enough. I think we should wrap up for the year. Benny.
Ben's is transformational.
Massive year, mate. You
yeah.
brought on new trainers, new location. I don't know what's happening even with the paint business, but there's been a lot of what's happening with Shadow, even going through a name change. So
yeah, I think 2024 for us, we said was going to be a bit of a make or break year. We made some investments and made a few big plays, so we had to really knuckle down and make sure that we had a structure and some goals and some stuff that we had to chase a target. So look, but overall, man, I'm happy, man. We're finishing the year. I'm in good spirits at the moment. We've made a real impact in the area. I've done some really special things. I've really helped a few people this year. That's what I'm really connected to. Obviously we talk business and all that stuff, which, that's, business is what we do and what we love. For me, what drives me at the moment is just, making an impact in the community. And if I can help 1 or 2 people, then, I feel like that's my life's purpose. And there's several out there at the moment that I dare say would be nodding right now, that I've really tried to help this year and really, given them the freedom to fly. And, if that's my legacy, then that's how I want to go out. So, man, I'm happy, man. I'm happy. Let's keep this momentum rolling and move into 2025 and see where this takes us.
Any major plans for 2025?
For us, we're going to finish our recovery center.
Up
January.
Up there.
So January we're starting the recovery center, which just gives us an additional revenue driver for the business. I believe the fitness industry is moving more towards recovery and the focus on that. So we're going to do our part in that space.
You also mentioned some personal goals. So, how many vacuum cleaners do you want to buy?
I'm a fan of buying good vacuum cleaners. So they are sometimes on my goal. I had a goal this year, funny one, to buy a robot vacuum. So me and Megan were eyeing one off, and we finally got the one. So we bought that this year. So we ticked that goal.
You do have to buy an expensive one because I bought the cheap one first.
Yeah.
Keeps going to the corner. Keeps going. It's like, you dumb robot.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, just stop. Like, you take it to the other side, it goes back to the same corner.
Right off Temu or something?
No, just one of those Kmart ones. And then I paid.
Get stuck.
Yeah, and then I paid more, and then now it's changed. Like, now I see it.
Yeah, man.
Poor man pays twice.
Yeah.
A poor man pays twice.
That's a lesson.
Hey, can I borrow your vacuum cleaner?
You can. You can't because it's mapped out there.
You're gonna remap it.
Yeah.
You're gonna remap it, bro.
Okay.
It has AI.
But it's annoying. It's not cool because then you gotta nudge it. You gotta take some stuff out. I understand, bro.
Yeah. See?
You understand when you get one. Put it on your goal list.
In in 2025, where I'm at with the businesses, I want to make sure next year, like this year I spent setting up. Next year I'm going to set up my out game. You know, that's been on my mind for some time now. You know, I started business when I was 19. I'm 37 next year. So, yeah.
It's well deserved.
Yeah, like I've been grinding a long time. This year my health got to me. Pat knows, you know, I took it too far, right?
And that was during
the fit out, yeah.
The fit out.
When you gave it to me as well?
I took it too far. You know,
is that the shingles?
The lack of sleep. The lack of sleep and bad nutrition and all the things.
No, well, we had to miss. We wouldn't do an episode on a Saturday, and I think we had to because, like you were out. You were you were at the doctor's or something on the morning that we were supposed to shoot.
Yeah, so not many people know that. I tried to hide it a little bit, but you know, Megan was a bit worried. Obviously, I actually blacked out a couple of times. She found me on the floor. You know, it got a bit extreme. I broke the door in my ensuite. You know, on the way down, I nearly
rude.
No, by falling.
Rage
it was a tough year. But you know, even after all that, like right now, I feel great, man.
Yeah,
I feel great. I just needed to realign. On the back of the fit out, I took my kids overseas to Japan, and the timing was really bad for the trip in terms of financial and whatever. But my son went to compete in the tournament there. What we did was we stayed 3 days in Disneyland,
That's sick.
in Tokyo, right?
Is it crazy though? Like, like in a
I'm a big kid, man.
Oh yeah,
It was hectic. I know what you mean, but like I'm a big kid, and it gave me a chance to just let my kids be free, and they ran through Disneyland like you know, it was just unreal experience. And the timing I thought was really bad. It actually helped me realign that, man. You know,
but also Antonio hit a great goal there.
Yeah,
right?
So he became international champion there. He won his
massive
division.
How old is he? 7 years old.
Yeah, so he won his division there.
We've got to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, he's been asking. You told him that in the first episode, but you never brought him on.
Yeah, well, I told him I'd give him $50 as well, but like in Indian, you got to do it
but
first.
Look, we've had a good year, man. I'm grateful, man. I'm really grateful. Thanks to God, I reconnected with my faith again. Like, there's lots of things that have happened. So, you know, I'm connected to that in 2025. I want to continue that, you know, and I wish you guys all the absolute best. But we do need to wrap up because when we leave the aircon off like this,
we are sweating.
And all of our guests, if you watch in the 44th minute, So we're there now. Thank you very much for subscribing, watching, listening, supporting. Love you guys.
Got some big guests lined up for 2025.
See you in the new year.
Yeah, we're excited for it. Thank you,
everyone. Let's
connect.
We made this a free platform because we want to educate and add value to your business world. All we ask for as a payment is to hit the subscribe button and share it with people that you know would benefit from this conversation. If you want to elevate your connections, we'll see you at the next Connect MacArthur event.